Craps table etiquette seems to be such a hot topic these days. I see it all over the place. Places like YouTube, Facebook, Craps Discord, and many other online places. This video is going to cover table etiquette from the shooter perspective. Hey, my name is Joe and this is my Craps Master journey. Let's make it yours too. According to Oxford Language, etiquette is polite behavior in society or among members of a particular profession or group. Put into craps terms, table etiquette is the following of spoken or unspoken rules which helps to promote the game of craps, plus allow the game to operate smoother and alleviate any superstitions. So that basically means doing what is right, doing what's polite, and doing whatever you can to promote the game of craps without breaking any of those unspoken superstitions. Table etiquette can be broken down into shooter side of things and the better side of things. Today's video is going to talk about the shooter side of things. And we're going to cover 13 different things that a shooter can do to follow proper table etiquette at the craps table. Number 1, handle the dice with only one hand. That way the camera or the eye in the sky can make sure that you're not switching out the dice and that you are not using any form of cheating. Number 2, both of the dice should hit the wall on the opposite end of the table, and this is basically to help randomize the dice. This is the casino's way to ensure that the dice do come off the back wall, do come off the diamonds in a random pattern. Number 3, set the dice quickly. You want to set the dice as quickly as you can because the casino wants to get a certain number of rolls in per hour, per minute, per day actually. And you want to set the dice quickly so that way they don't say anything about you're taking too much time, and hopefully we can keep that so that the casinos allow you to set the dice. Number 4, don't act like God's gift to the craps world. Obviously, hey, arrogance does not go very far in most people's books. Don't think you know everything about the game of craps. Don't think that you know exactly what each shooter, each player at the table is going to be doing. You know, everybody's different. Everybody has their own method to their madness. Everyone has a different strategy that they try to follow. So, you know, if asked, make sure you can help educate, but don't think you're God's gift. You don't know everything. Number 5, don't intentionally aim for the chips at the other end of the table. The dealer's working chips. That's just plain out rude if you do throw your dice at the chips, at the dealer's stacks, at the mirror. You do that once, they might give you a warning. Do the second or third time, they're probably going to kick you off the table and or the casino. There are certain rules or etiquettes that you should be playing at the table, and that is one of the major ones from a shooter perspective. Number 6, don't blow on the dice. Obviously during COVID times here, blowing on the dice, no one wants to touch them. We got germs spreading around, you know, COVID is being spread. It's just disgusting, so please don't do that. Number 7, don't pass the dice more than twice in a row. Now, there's times when you might have a hot shooter and there's 6 people on a table, and you want to get the dice back to that shooter again as fast as possible. I've never heard of this rule, but this is one of the things I found in my research. If you pass the dice more than 2 people in a row, that is considered bad etiquette. I know that I heard a story about a person that was shooting, and for some reason the dealer took the shot away from them for I don't even know what reason it was. So everybody at the table went around and passed and to get the dice back to that shooter because he was doing pretty good. And the casino had a big thing about it. They basically said, hey, if you're not shooting, you're not playing any pass line or don't pass line, you're not going to be allowed to play the table. You need to shoot the dice. You need to place the chips. Number 8, follow instructions of the dealer. Every dealer is slightly different, and they're going to ask you to do certain things when you are at the craps table. For example, the way that you call out your bets. dice are out. They're going to try to dictate the pace of the game. So that way, follow their instructions, follow their directions. And if you have questions, make sure that you ask them, because they are kind of like the referees of the table, the people that actually promote the game at the casino and try to keep the flow going, so that way everybody has a decent chance of shooting, and we can do it on a timely manner. Remember, they want to make a certain amount of money, and they want to have a certain number of dice rolls per minute, so that way follow their directions and keep the game going smoothly. Number 9, don't slide the dice when shooting. Sliding the dice used to be kind of a little tactic that people would have for dice control or dice influence. And there was a time when they actually started putting things underneath the felt to make sure that the dice were randomized, so they actually had to go over that speed bump, if you will, to get the dice to roll and then hitting into the back wall. I don't see that too often anymore. In fact, I've never seen it in a casino. I would imagine it's still out there, but sliding the dice is illegal. Make sure that you do have some air into it, and we'll cover a little bit more on that in a future etiquette tip. Number 10, throw the dice at eye level of the dealers or lower. So that kind of piggybacks on the sliding of the dice. Make sure that when you do throw the dice, that they are kept at approximately eye level or lower. Keep it at least a foot off the table and less than eye level of the dealers, and we should be safe and everybody should be happy. Number 11, always keep the dice visible. Keeping the dice visible is extremely important. That kind of goes with the first rule that we talked about handling the dice with only one hand. Hey, the eye in the sky, the security team, they want to make sure that the dice are kept intact, that you're actually not changing the dice out. You're not cheating. You're not using methods in order to cheat the casino out of their money. So that way you always want to keep that dice visible, so there is no question, there is no doubt in the casino's mind that you have the dice that are actually put out there. And keep in mind, there are different security things that they have in a dice, and I covered this in a past video actually. Things like the pips, the security numbers, or the serial numbers on the dice, and the weight of the dice, and the color, and there's many other different things that on the dice, so they can tell what is the actual security dice. Number 12, don't throw the dice hard, toss them. Throwing them hard is actually dangerous. I was at a table in Wisconsin Dells area actually once, and the shooter was throwing them so hard that they would hit the diamonds and they would bounce up and over the side of the rail, and they actually hit me, and almost hit a couple other players, and the table dealers kept on saying, hey dude, you need to slow this down, you need to throw softer, otherwise you're not going to be allowed to shoot anymore. So that could be a dangerous situation if you are shooting too hard. Number 13, don't overshake the dice. This kind of goes along with the setting of the dice rule, taking too long before the dice are shot. It's proper etiquette from a shooter perspective to make sure that you get the dice when it's called dice out, and that you try to toss or throw the dice in a timely manner. Shaking the dice is almost as bad as oversetting or taking too long to set the numbers that you want for throwing the dice. So again, try not to overshake the dice. Use some caution, some practical consideration and common sense. So we're talking in review today about etiquette from a shooter perspective. Remember that there's also etiquette from a better perspective, and I will have that in the next video that's coming out. And one of the things I won't really talk about in any videos, but I also remember there's table etiquette from the dealer and the staff perspective as well. Things that they should be doing, not saying the number 7, not putting the stick out in the way so it's disrupting the flow of the dice and stuff like that. Each casino has different rules. Each casino has different things that they're expecting from their staff. But there's also things that, if you see the staff doing it, mention it, guys, politely, obviously. Mention, hey, do you mind pulling the stick back when I'm shooting? Do you mind moving those chips just a little bit so that way they're not in my way? Things like that. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with asking. Just make sure you do politely and don't be rude about it. If there's any etiquette rules or ideas or thoughts that I missed from a shooter perspective, make sure you leave it in the comments below, and that way we can have a more inclusive list, and that way we can open the eyes to many people so they know what they should not do at the craps table. Hey, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so, because every little bit does help. And give me that thumbs up as well. Every little bit of information that you can give to YouTube, whether it be through comments or subscribing or thumbs up or even thumbs down, is fine. It's going to help promote the video and more, get the video out, so that way more people can learn from the stuff that I'm trying to teach. And proper etiquette is only one of the many things that you could do to help promote the game of craps. To find out how else you could promote the game of craps, click on the video on the right side of the screen there, and that'll bring you to the video that I did on promoting the game of craps. Hey, my name is Joe, and this is my Craps Master Journey. Let's make it yours too.